Sing your song, Ari. Woo!
We're all back.
I don't want to get a cease and desist letter from
Come on.
Snoop.
Yes. No, don't.
Oh, man. Actually,
This is...
that
I didn't
works.
hold it long enough.
That works
It
for
is
my
long.
copy. Live from your ESG UFO. In the form of Ari, the Data Queen. It's a Business Pants Friday show here at October 13th.
Oh, Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Yes,
it is Friday the 13th.
What?
Studios featuring all your favorites. Ari, the Data Queen, Jesse, the Money Whisperer, and Analyst Hole Matt Mascardi. Yeah.
My analyst wholeness is going to say that Damien had written October 32nd.
But I'm such a pro that
production sheet.
I changed it and...
Live.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know what I did. On today's weekly
Dear
wrap-up...
listener, let's see if you can figure out where Damien changed it live in his speech patterns.
I was born on Friday the 13th, so it's all good for me. On today's
Wow.
weekly wrap-up, CEOs who wear their
That's a
jeans
fun
in the
fact.
shower, gender
Ew.
gap award winners, flexible core values, and the UN's Green Climate Fund. Really? We're talking about that? Okay, sure.
I have some new sound effects for you this week, too.
Good, thank God.
Like,
That sounds scary.
that's for right before we, are about to announce some giant bomb.
I was going to say that's...
And Ari's about to
or
sing.
tsunami.
You're just adding
It
to my
is
depression.
I think it is a tsunami alert. All right. What are we doing this week? What's our thing? Who are you?
I
Where
mean,
are we?
do you want me to tell you again what we're talking about, or do you want to just get into the show?
No, let's get into the
Come
show.
on.
But don't you have to explain to
I'm
the other
waiting.
humans
Story
who
of the
listen to it? All right,
No,
here we
nobody
go.
cares.
Yeah.
It's a
We're back to the old
I thought you were
music.
getting new music.
It's all restored.
So
and watch
disappointing.
this.
No. Oh.
It automatically turns itself off now.
So you kept the
Hey,
one
when-
thing I hate the most.
I kept it as a punishment because you deleted all my files.
All right, Friday show wrap up. We got story of the week, goodliest, most exhausting. What else?
You're
Assholiest.
supposed to do that before.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Delete in.
No. Story of the
Let's
week.
do
Here we
this
go.
thing.
CEOs in war.
Oh,
This is why I'm so depressed this week. But here we go. Lots of CEOs making their personalities known during this depressing week where there is a war in the Mideast. First, we had Bill Ackman going after Harvard, saying that he wanted Harvard to release the names of students blaming Israel for the Hamas attacks.
the hummus attacks? I think it's Hamas.
I did say hummus, yeah.
I think you're hungry.
The ADL boss slams CEOs who stay silent. Apollo CEO calling for Penn, University of Pennsylvania leaders to resign after he says they refuse to strongly condemn anti-Semitism. We got Elon Musk arguing with the EU commissioner over disinformation on X. And finally, we have yet another one, a CEO in Israel, a billionaire. He and his wife both just quit the board of Harvard's Kennedy School of Business after slamming the college's president, Claudia Goldin, after her response to the students' protests. So, I only added that one because what kind of a board is it anyway if it's him and his wife get on the board? What are we doing here? What kind of governance is that? What are we doing?
Also, what's the point with quitting? Don't you want to be there and bring all your friends? Come on.
I guess it's I don't know.
They don't
Yeah.
know how boards work here.
I look at this guy. This guy is so busy with so much nonsense and bullshit that I think it's like a vanity quit. I don't know. You know what I mean? I think he's just there for vanity. He didn't even go to Harvard. I don't even know why he's there on this board at all. But anyway, CEOs in war, the first big story of the week.
I almost actually made the Apollo CEO assholiest of the week because what he did was go out and say that that all donors to the University of Pennsylvania should only donate $1 in protest to their response. And then I looked it up, and Apollo was one of they didn't end up backing it, but they were going to finance Elon Musk's deal to buy X. And it's like, he's like, this is after he said anti-Semitic things all over Twitter, prior to buying it. And you were going to back that guy because it's like you think there's money in it, and then you're going to withhold money from a university because you're protesting and demanding that other billionaire donors, like, this is like billionaires saying, do as I say, not as I do.
That's billionaire math right there.
I got to tell you, this is the weirdest thing, the weirdest reason why, and this is why I included the story, is that the target of the universities is the strangest part of the story to me. They're going hard after students of all things. It's an unusual wrinkle.
Feels dystopian.
It feels like snowflakeism we've reached peak conservative billionaire snowflakeism, right? Like we were at peak liberal snowflakeism, back in the Emma days when we were getting beeped for saying things like Canada's nice. That's when everything was a knee-jerk reaction on the left. Now it's like boycott everyone. On the right, it's all coming from the right.
Well,
I don't understand.
What I've heard more of this week are CEOs. They happen to be billionaires this week. I don't know why. These are very wealthy CEOs spending way more airtime going after students than the actual perpetrators of the violence in the middle. No, I'm serious. Like, you're laughing, but I'm absolutely serious. It's very odd. It's very odd. Number 2.
Also, does every CEO have to say something? Like,
oh wow, do we come full circle? No, we're conservatives. We're the conservatives.
Yeah, I don't mind them saying things. I just
That's
find
what Vivek says.
I just find their behavior to be a bit odd. I just find targeting students to be really awkward. I don't know.
All right.
Number 2 story of the week. Movie theater giant AMC, that's AMC Entertainment, their CEO, Adam Aron, he is revealed as the mystery CEO who fell victim to a catfish blackmail scheme he called an elaborate criminal extortion. This is our first CEO catfish story, right? The first known CEO who got caught up in a catfishing scandal, sending nudes of himself.
Yeah, but isn't this someone hacked my account on Twitter kind of catfish story? I mean, I know he's not saying that, but that's the feel of the story, right? Like, because he mistook the person who catfished him said their name was like Mia and they were like Russian or something like that. And he mistook them for a ballerina not named Mia who he had an extramarital affair with.
Oh my God.
And like totally different, like a totally different person, totally different name. He was like, oh, is that you?
Must be the same person.
If you read the text, it was like, no, it's not that person. You didn't get catfished. You just clearly didn't keep it in your pants and are happy to take pictures of it.
You
out of your
saw what
pants.
you wanted to see.
Yeah, exactly.
And no pun intended, but he's exposing himself for who he truly is, which is an old, out of touch white dude, right? I mean, I guess the race has nothing to do with it, but he's an out of touch old guy. And why do I mention that? Because we're talking about a failing movie theater chain, right? That has only gotten hope this year from, of all things, Taylor Swift and Barbie, right?
Oh.
So the opposite extremes of his old maledom. And I looked into our data. This guy has 41% of influence at his company. In fact, the top 3 influencers at AMC control 65% influence. They're all dudes, and their average age is 72. So maybe this is why AMC Entertainment sucks, right? And so I'm not honestly, I'm not surprised that this guy fell for a catfishing scheme. Imagine being the CEO of a major corporation and you're falling for catfishing schemes. It means you're completely out. You're laughing, but it means you're completely out of touch with humanity.
He was about. Their new announcement was this newfangled technology in which someone cranks a reel that shows you the moving pictures.
How was his identity revealed?
That's a good question.
Did he just leave his computer open and somebody walked by?
I don't know if he owned up to it or
someone was like, I know that not ballerina.
Right? So they were probably like, we have your photos of your dick.
We have.
You pay us.
Yep, we do have them.
I guess there was a report out of Semaphore that named him. So there was I guess a journalist figured it out.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Journalism.
Works. Number 3 story of the week. More Brits believe in aliens than understand ESG.
How dare you?
I just like this one. First of all, the headline writer kind of gets this wrong. 13% of British people know what ESG is, right? 22%.
You were supposed to wait for the drum roll.
22% believe aliens have visited Earth. So they don't really. It's more than they believe in aliens.
That's
they believe
the
they
alien.
visited Earth. Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
this gels with my 20 years of experience in ESG, roughly.
Okay, I believe that.
I feel like this is accurate.
Number 4 story of the week are 2 big mergers that went through this week. First, ExxonMobil is buying Pioneer Natural Resources for nearly $60 billion. This is the biggest deal in that sector, since the 80s, I believe? 90s, early 90s? And here's why I included this, because let's not forget the big kerfuffle around engine number 1, right? They made a big song and dance of being like ESG saviors, right? Because
There's a lot of talk, yeah.
Because they quote unquote took over the board at Exxon and put on 3 of their directors, blah blah blah. But the news today, of course, is that all 3 of those engine number 1 directors voted unanimously for the takeover of a shale oil company, Pioneer Natural Resources. So yeah, there you go. Good. So, yeah. Go
Look,
ahead.
we were right, because when that board vote happened, we could not figure out why everyone was saying that this is a win for environmentalists.
They were saying it.
A win for
They
ESG.
were saying it.
Every headline was like, environmental win. Finally, environmentalists get on the board of Exxon. And we kept saying, like, Greg Goff was an oil executive who fought the EPA, right? I don't understand how we're framing this as an environmental win. No one could explain it to us. And we said, this is all bullshit. And lo and behold, how many years ago was that? 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, a couple years
It just
ago.
takes 2 years for us to be right. That's
Yeah.
all.
The Wall Street Journal was all over that.
Why? Yeah, this
Biggest
is why
environmental win.
this is why you should pay attention to us.
Yeah.
Number 2.
I don't think we've sold them hard enough, though.
Number 2 big merger, Microsoft closes $75 billion Activision Blizzard deal. So they've basically gotten through all their hurdles, all the antitrust, because Lena Khan at the FTC was coming after them, UK, blah, blah, blah. They got through it all. The deal's going to happen.
Boo.
Yeah, here's what I found about the Activision Blizzard deal. First of all, Bobby Kotick will remain with the company for a few more months, is said to be resigning in 2024. At $95 per share, Bobby Kotick is going to cash out at roughly $600 million.
Wow.
And why? We dug
deal.
We spent a lot of time talking about Bobby Kotick. He's the architect and author of one of the biggest sexual harassment stories at a publicly traded company in the last few years. Why did he? We asked for so long, how the hell did this guy keep his job? Because I'll tell you why. The 2 longest serving directors that saved Bobby Kotick's Activision Blizzard, that's Chair Brian Kelly and lead independent director Robert Morgado, who also happens to be the chair of the compensation committee and the chair of the nominating committee. They both walk away with a ton of cash from this. The chairman alone, Brian Kelly, walks away with $118 million worth of stock. And even the lead independent director walks away with $16 million. This is the guy they call independent. So that's what's really going on over there at Activision Blizzard.
There's nothing more independent than instant vesting of your RSUs. Yeah.
And they know that everyone knew they had to keep this guy in place, because Microsoft would not have gone through with this if they couldn't make Bobby Kotick smell nice. So
does he smell nice? Have you smelled him?
Speaking of smelling nice, my final story of the week is a good one. The Levi's CEO. I should know his name. This is the show we do. This is all we do. Charles Berg. Levi's CEO Charles Berg.
Quick Googling.
He wears his jeans into the shower when they're really gross and washes them with hand soap and says, "You should too." That's my fifth story of the week.
He just keeps wearing them when they're normal gross.
Yeah,
stuff.
doesn't that feel
gross.
really uncomfortable when you're
Yeah.
done?
he just like walks around as they dry off, and it takes 3 days.
I mean,
Well, imagine this guy's bathroom though. This is don't picture my bathroom. I mean, this is a CEO's bathroom, right?
It is. It's probably a big bathroom. So
Yeah.
he's probably got like, and he probably hands it to the
valet.
the lady right
Yeah.
outside the door, being like, please dry these.
But just a feeling
Hang
of
dry.
wet jeans. That's what I
It's
can't
not a good
get
feeling.
over.
Yeah.
It's not a good feeling.
Imagine trying to take off the jeans when you're done. Like you have to like
no.
peel them
Well,
off.
again, he
and
has a
they're all
valet for that.
suck.
Yeah.
And they get so heavy. This is not good.
I like that the logistics are what bother us.
I like
right,
that in one week we had a CEO telling us to wear your jeans into the shower and another one getting catfish. This is just big for us.
Yeah.
Big CEO week.
Summarizing the story, CEOs and the war is in Israel. Movie giant AMC's boss got catfished. Brits believe in aliens more than they understand ESG, which is a weird headline. That's a weird headline. It's like and mergers go through and finally wash your jeans in the shower, which cannot be the story of the week. Does anybody have a vote?
Yeah. I mean,
Ari's right
CEOs
to
going
it.
after students, man. You know, I think they added the Levi CEO to lighten up the mood, the CEO mood.
Yeah.
But the story really is CEOs in war and how, like, I think culturally we just expect you to take a stance and then we yell at you if it's not the one that we agree with,
I can't get over that it's on college campuses and in companies where conservatives in this country keep saying they're discriminated against, that they should allow. In fact, there were multiple shareholder proxies filed this year about viewpoint discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
And then students at Harvard have a viewpoint you don't agree with, and the first instinct is to discriminate against those Harvard students. Ackman said, I want that list so I can never
Yeah.
hire them.
Yeah.
That's what they're
Yeah.
saying. I don't ever want to hire them, right?
Yeah, that's icky.
So
Yeah, it's one thing to be on the
What do you
campus during the protest and maybe he's talking to a student and he finds out his name and blah blah, gets to know the person. No, he wants Harvard to send him a list. Of all this, and first
I'm
of all,
sure he would want this public as well.
how does Harvard even have a list of people showing up at protests? It's not a thing that we do yet. I mean, but if CEOs
do you
have their
know
way, yeah, they will.
where he made this announcement?
Tell
On
me.
Twitter.
On
He's-
X,
like
yeah.
all
Of
of this
course,
is
of
unfolding
course.
on Twitter,
course.
where they're basically trying to out all of the students on Twitter, where a list of other CEOs said, yeah, if you get that list, I want it too. I never want to hire these people. And it's like, okay, so you're going to fight for viewpoint discrimination for conservatives, but somebody says something you don't agree with, and you're going to immediately discriminate against them. This is literally, it's all backwards. Like everyone's a big fucking whiny snowflake. That's
It is a.
I'm voting for that too.
I will say that there's another story about Harvard this week. Well, first of all, there are two other ones that are notable to me. First of all, Harvard researcher Claudia Goldin. Claudia Goldin was
Claudia
awarded the
Goldin,
Nobel Prize for her research on the gender gap, but also Harvard graduate and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said that when he sees a doctor who graduated from Harvard, he runs the other way. He doesn't trust them.
Yeah.
This is how crazy. This is how crazy our world is now. Yeah,
I'm with that. Run the other way from the Harvard doctors. That's
from the place
a
that
good
you
win.
went to school. Yeah, Jesse, do you have a vote? Not that it matters.
I forgot he went there.
Why Matt cast his vote?
Yeah, Matt, it's
I'm
kind of
for the
over.
war,
You
yeah.
can't.
CEO and war, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of over. That's the story of the week. There you go.
That's also the
Moving
correct
on.
story.
Come on.
And everybody.
Make me happy,
everyone
Ari.
did the
Come
wrong
on.
thing.
Good leads of the week.
I got some
All
good
right,
ones.
here we
Yeah.
go. Good list of the week. Because Damien is really down, so you're gonna have to really pick him up here.
I'm going to start out with the Harvard professor that you just talked about.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Claudia Goldin. She was awarded the Nobel Prize for Economics.
Yes.
She's a professor who spent nearly her entire career looking into the gender gap in the labor market and the forces behind it. It says, in the past, the difference in earnings between men and women could be blamed on educational attainment and occupation choices. This makes sense, right? Like women couldn't go to school. All right. However, Goldin has shown that the bulk of the current earnings gap is now between men and women in the same jobs, and that it mostly emerges after the birth of the woman's first child. So the biggest culprit here, as we all know, is the division of unpaid caregiving and household labor between heterosexual couples. Heterosexual couples are ruining women's pay.
So how's Miles, by the way?
Right.
Sure.
So I am incredibly upset with my husband right now, who's taking all next week off to care for a child, but that doesn't matter.
Is he?
Yeah,
Good
he
for
is.
him.
Except that he can't one day.
Except that he was like, except that he already can't one day, and then he was like, what am I supposed to do with him? I'm like, I don't know. Hang out. Be
What am I
bored.
supposed to do with him? That's
What
a
do
great
I do with
You're his
this
dad.
thing?
Yeah.
You're supposed to parent.
Yeah.
I hope he's listening. Okay. Number 2, goodliest of the week. There's a couple of Trump things that actually
Oh.
made me happy.
Okay, come on.
Yes.
Is he in jail?
Well, not that
Is he
happy.
dead?
Come on. It was a bad.
Oh.
Well.
I don't mind saying it.
You went there.
Trump NDAs scrapped. Hundreds of 2016 campaign staffers can now publicly criticize him.
Oh,
Wow.
but
Come
will
on.
they? But will they? And will it matter?
Come on.
That's nice.
You know who's going to be all over this? Business Insider.
Yes.
Okay.
Business
can't
Insider,
wait
winner of the
to-
week.
Yep.
Well, I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Business Insider, come on, call him up. Yeah, if you guys were not aware, there was a lawsuit by a former staffer that turned into a class action lawsuit. So now everybody's NDAs got
But I
thrown out.
appreciate it, Ari, but what can people say now that can sully his image? Like, how are you going to tarnish his I mean, really, like, what are you going to do? He started
Dude,
an
how
insurrection against
often-
our country.
How often do NDAs get thrown out? Not very.
Okay,
So
I
like
hear
this.
that. Okay, all right.
All right, maybe you'll like
That's
this one
tepid.
more because it involves some money.
No, I don't care. Go ahead.
A SPAC
Uh-huh.
is set to return the remaining $533 million. That's $500 million, Damien. $500 million.
It's less than Bobby Kotick's getting. Yep.
Raised for Trump's social media deal.
Wait, I didn't know that they actually returned that money. I didn't know that ever happened.
Well,
that kind of a
this
thing.
is what happened. $467 million worth of commitments. So investors backtracked that much. And therefore, they returned it all. Does that make sense?
That's- Yeah.
There's two classes of investors here. There's like your retail SPAC investors, and then there's PIPE investors, which is private investment in a public equity.
Like
so you have
preferred
big
investors?
private investors who are getting preferred treatment for their investment.
First to get their payout back. Yeah, first to get
they
their
are
money
the
back.
ones who are allowed to get their payout after a certain period, and they basically all 467 million of 533
Yep.
million said, "Forget it. This deal sucks.
Just
We'll just
kidding.
give us the money back."
Took them
with the
this long?
interest."
Took them this long to figure that out?
But
that
they
this
got
sucks?
interest. Right? They waited because it was
Oh.
basically they're guaranteed interest. So
Oh,
they're
God.
taking the guaranteed interest and they get a return on their money.
Jesus.
It was
Right. So this will keep $1 billion from getting to Truth Social's hands.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
Good.
That's a win.
that's
any-
Love
Does-
that.
Does anybody care about Truth Social?
I mean, I don't, but I think other people do.
Right.
Also, the elections are coming up, so I think it will get hotter.
I will say this, Matt. This is good for our company, Free Flow LLC, because didn't we invest like $50 million into Truth Social? Didn't we?
Yeah,
How much did we give?
that's-
We were
no,
big on
Get it all
them.
back?
We were early
Yes.
in on them. Early
we
in.
were early in. We now have 7 followers
Yeah.
on Truth Social.
And last but not least, this is the
Lord.
headline.
Yeah.
A wildly... Wait, it is widely.
That's a good. Now I know why this is last.
Start.
Hyped. Don't make me laugh. I need to compose myself. A widely hyped 3-year cruise has been delayed weeks before it was set to sail because there's no ship yet.
All right, well,
Believe there's a 3-year cruise?
that's the
This
part
is
that's shocking to me.
insane.
Although, Ari, I would have laughed at that a few years ago, but now I kind of wouldn't mind. Just take me away. Like, just
Three
On a
years of
ship?
norovirus.
Are there no
Can you
TVs
imagine
though?
that?
Maybe you don't have to listen to the news for 3 years. That might be nice.
They'll have Wi-Fi by
Oh, boo,
Starlink.
boo.
None other than Starlink.
I will say this. We have covered over the last 3 months or so that ships have increasingly used new technology called sails in order to reduce their emissions. I would have really liked this story. This would have definitely been good list if the ship that has been delayed was a giant sailboat. Like that would have just made me happy.
Because they're working on the technology.
It would have been green. They
And
were
there was
working on
no
the new
ship.
technology.
Come on,
All
this
right,
is
so
great.
the three things are Claudia Goldin's Nobel Prize for researching.
I mean,
women
come
in
on,
the
that's
workplace.
got to be it. Come on.
Trump stuff, basically bad news for Trump. And
you let
a
us
cruise
vote?
ship does not go on a cruise.
Come
I
on,
don't
that's
know.
always a win,
I'm
Matt.
I'm really torn.
Delayed
between Claudia
weeks.
Goldin's-
Delayed weeks.
Claudia Goldin's real
Not canceled.
accomplishment, a lifelong accomplishment.
Yeah, you
and
guys.
a cruise ship
you guys,
not
this
going.
is also a 3-year cruise. Imagine
a ship
the
not
emissions
leaving,
of
that's
that.
a win.
That's
Come on.
true, Jesse. Imagine you show up for that trip with 3 years of luggage, and they're like, no,
That's
we're not
what
going to be leaving for 3 more weeks.
Exactly.
3 years worth of snacks.
Well, the good news is you
Because
have.
you don't want to pay for the
Think about all the alcohol. Is it all inclusive? Think about.
Well,
They
think about,
airdrop
like,
it.
Even if you showed up and they're like, it's going to be delayed for 5 months, you're like, well, I packed for 3 years, so I'm fine.
How do you pack
I'm
for
just
3
gonna wait.
years?
I'm just going to wait right outside.
How many pairs of
Also,
socks
like-
is 3 years?
They must have suites because, like, who wants to be in a tiny, tiny cruise room for 3 years?
3 years in that tiny room.
Well,
These people are
Jesse, you've never
spending
seen my
over
house, so.
150,000. People
My
have
vote is-
sold their homes to go on this cruise.
My vote is
All right.
Claudia.
gotta be.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's Claudia.
Come on,
It
come
is
on.
Claudia.
Come
It
on.
was-
What are we
it
doing
would
here?
be really
She's
stupid if
only
we did anything
She's only
else.
the third woman to win.
Ari,
this.
you didn't even give it a game. Not only that, Mari, but she's the only. I think she's the first woman where it's solely her research. So she didn't
Nice.
share this with anybody else. This is her award.
She was the first tenured professor at Harvard for econ.
Oh, don't say
Not
Harvard.
to mention, you can call her when we stop promoting you because you had a baby. So it's win-win-win.
Maybe I'll call her regardless. Jesse, let's invite her.
Yeah, get her on the show. Come on, what are we
Get her
doing?
on the show.
All
Get
right,
her
all
on the
right.
show.
Although
That
she's-
means,
I'm sure she's in high demand.
yeah. That means it's time for other stuff you don't want to hear.
Oh no, here we go.
Assholiest of the week. All right, I have 3. So
Oh,
usually I do
good.
4. Now
That's
I'm
better
down
than
to 3.
4. All right, already better.
Here's number 1: core values that are so core that you can change them because you feel like it. This is a story about OpenAI. I actually looked up the definition of a core value because I wanted to be sure that I understood that, because it feels like a core value would be something that was like real and core. But Harvard Business Review in 2002 defined it as core values are the deeply ingrained principles that guide all of a company's actions. They serve as cultural cornerstones. They're defined as being inherent and sacrosanct. They are sacrosanct.
Yeah.
They can
Sarcastic?
never be
Is that what you said?
compromised,
Yeah.
either for convenience or short-term economic gain, which is what I thought. So when I read this headline, I thought maybe I had it wrong. OpenAI has quietly changed its core values.
Yeah, but was it the AI that changed it, or was it humans?
We
that
don't know.
changed it?
It's undisclosed. The company whose founder openly described like their AI as wiping out humanity, right? Like he's the one who's saying
He's worried
that
about
it's
it.
like he's very worried about it.
Yeah.
They changed it from being audacious, being thoughtful. There's like sentences after this, but who cares? Being unpretentious, impact-driven, collaborative, and growth-oriented.
Whatever that means.
To AGI focus, which is artificial general intelligence, which is
Ew.
defined as the intelligence of a median worker.
Oh,
Okay,
that's me.
You, Damien Focus.
Yeah.
Basically replicating Damien's intelligence. Anything that doesn't help with that is out of scope.
What?
So
What?
that's
What?
they put that
Oh
in.
my
Okay.
God.
Okay.
Okay.
That's in. And then the others are intense and scrappy.
What? That's a value.
Scale.
That's not
How
a
is that a
value, is
qu-
it?
Right.
That's one. That counts as
Intense
one.
and scrappy is 1. Yep. Scale is 1.
That's also not a
Is that
value.
all? Scale is like growth oriented. Is that what that means?
Growth-oriented sounds a little bit like Tamer. Scale sounds like blitz scaling
Yeah.
Uber,
Like
right?
Uber,
doesn't
yeah.
Yeah.
Make something people love and team spirit.
What?
Those
Who
are their
wrote
core-
Oh my
these?
Those are
God!
core
Make
values.
something people love.
They've replaced thoughtfulness with this crap.
So now scale is actually a greater core value than the potential destruction of humankind, because they did not adjust it to say like safety, or our core value is like protecting the human race or betterment of people. In fact, the one they got rid of is impact driven. Impact driven is gone, and now scale is there.
Also, thoughtful is gone, which is a bit
Forget
scary.
thoughtful. We're not going to be thoughtful.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Are they a not-for-profit company or are they for-profit?
They're a fake for profit because Microsoft made an investment in them,
Oh,
and
right,
they have a
okay.
temporary for-profit status
They're
of some
fake
kind. It's like-
not-for-profit. Yeah.
They're a fake not for. They're one of the I've never heard of the structure that they are.
And
like
the
a
CEO
pseudo not for profit.
And the CEO holds no shares, right?
No shares, but
so that he can escape cleanly.
But he also started a different startup that does like that payment startup, like is in like AI built like eye scanning. Doesn't he have like some orb
Yeah.
that scans your eyes for payments?
Oh, I need that.
So strange. No, you don't.
Yeah, I need that.
I never have my wallet.
It's called a
something-
wallet. Yeah.
I'm ready to get
She
chipped.
said, Ari said she's going to use our Whole Foods got the hand
Yep.
scanners.
Yep.
And she
Just
said
use
she's
your
gonna
phone.
use it.
Just double click.
She's ready to have a
Really
chip
that?
inside of
I
her.
always leave my phone
So,
behind.
so
I never
you'd
have my
rather
wallet.
rub your
She's-
hand on a
yeah,
hand
she's
screener.
Just don't
I will
eat.
rub my belly button
Just-
if it
that's-
means I don't have to carry
Ari, just
anything.
steal the apple and get it over with.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Ladies, stop enabling man babies just to be close to power. It's your fault now, not theirs.
All of a sudden, it's
Wait,
the ladies'
how is this
It's-
assholiest? Help me out.
Because
There we go.
so last week we had Twitter. 2 weeks ago we had Twitter CEO Linda Yaccarino
Yeah.
basically melting down at a conference.
Mm-hmm.
She has now said that this is the headline. I thought the headline was funny. Twitter CEO says that due to reasons she has to cancel
Yeah,
appearance
yeah.
defending Elon Musk's strange behavior.
Yeah.
Twitter CEO Linda Yaccarino has now canceled all upcoming appearances in order so that she can focus on the Israel-Hamas conflict and how Twitter's responding to that. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is responding to that. However,
Oh,
he feels like
God.
responding to that
Sure.
because she's tired of being asked if she's not really the CEO, right? Like,
Well,
which
notice
she's
that-
not the CEO.
Hey, yeah, it's valid of getting tired of being asked the same question when it's very clear to everyone already the answer.
Yeah. Notice
But at
that the
some
EU.
point, isn't she enabling Elon Musk?
Yeah.
Like she's the one who's taking all
I know,
this heat.
and this is what happened last week. Like, I went from feeling bad for her to just being
What?
pissed.
How?
Oh, I don't feel bad for her.
Why would you feel
I
bad
felt
for
bad
her
for
though?
her.
But she knew the job she was taking though. Not to mention that she didn't really have the background to do this job. I mean, she was in
Says who?
she was in ad sales at a TV
Yeah,
network.
Well,
she was
he was-
in
she
She was
marketing
at
and
NBC.
advertising.
He
Okay,
was
but-
being manipulative
That's
the
media.
whole time because that article came out about how she didn't even know she got the job and he
Yes.
went public with it and
Right.
she had to go like run to her boss.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she was manipulated
Be-
the whole
the
time.
whole-
because
thing.
because he liked the way she asked him questions. He liked the way she pushed back on him, and asked questions. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
I kind of
That's-
like this, Matt. I'll see if I agree with the next.
Well, the next one is Qantas's chair of the board, Goiter.
Yeah. Richard Goiter.
He basically has a fake apology where he says, "We are sorry," and Vanessa Hudson went out and said, "I am sorry."
New
right?
CEO.
Why
Wait.
is
Yeah.
the new CEO taking on personal responsibility, but the man babies, Alan Joyce leaves before he has to apologize, even though it's all on his watch, and Richard Goiter sticks around just long enough to say we are sorry, but never takes takes the blame. Instead, they basically put Vanessa Hudson as a human body shield out
Yeah.
in front of
Wait.
employees. She got grilled by the government.
To be clear,
But
who
this
are we?
is everything she's worked
Who
for.
are we angry at here in this category, Matt? The women or the men?
Enabling the man, anybody who enables the man
enabling.
babies.
So this
And
is
it's-
a giant like
right-
Sheryl Sandberg category,
Yes.
right?
And
Yes.
it's like,
Okay.
because the next one
Is she the OG enabler? In our
Yes,
the OG
exactly.
enabler. The next one is Carolyn Ellison.
Oh.
Who, if you're reading her testimony,
Yeah.
she actually knew it was wrong. She, as part of her testimony, she said FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, asked her to make alternate balance sheets to give to their investors that don't show them in as bad a light. So she made 7, and he
Wow.
chose the 7th balance
What
sheet.
an overachiever.
Wow.
So the first one,
She's like, this one's slightly wrong.
basically they get progressively wronger as they go. Like, well, we could do this in
Is
this
she an
bucket.
accountant?
No, of course not.
Just his
was-
girlfriend?
She
She-
was
she
his
does
girlfriend
math.
Just his
and running the
girlfriend
hedge
slash
fund,
bookkeeper.
and effectively standing on the grenade for him. Right,
Matt, does she have immunity or like what? Did she make a plea
no,
agreement?
she cut a deal. Yeah, she cut a deal.
Is she going to serve time or do
I'm
we
sure
know?
she'll serve time. I think
Okay.
that. I
And
think
then she's gonna write a book.
Because
and
this
then
is
it's gonna turn
that's
into a movie.
because what you're just describing is really terrible. I mean, it's
Yeah, that's
horrible.
It's high
Yeah.
level fraud. I mean,
It's alternative. Thank you, Kelly and Conway, for coming up with alternative.
it's
instead of
alternative
fake.
fraud. But she's the
don't know what that
one. My
means.
problem is like Carolyn
Alternative facts.
in order to be the CEO of Alameda, you're basically willing to enable a giant man baby who's actually a man baby because he's like 30, 20, he's in his 20s, early 30s, who
he
thinks
does qualify. Yeah.
really highly of
Yeah,
himself.
I mean, look at that hair.
So we've got multiple stories just in the last week and a half of women who are allowing themselves to be used as human body shields to protect these asshole man babies.
But Matt,
behind
this
them.
is
Or
this
they're
is
using the asshole man babies to get to the top, to what they thought was top.
yeah, but Matt, this is that, and yes, Ari, like this is the question though about the Glasscliff CEO scenario, right? Is like, should these women not take these jobs? Because how else are they going to get promoted to that
Yeah.
level, right? I mean,
I was going to say,
but after
what
they
are their
take these jobs,
right,
do
there
they
aren't.
ever get
There
another
aren't
job?
alternatives. No,
They're
but
done.
Jesse's right. There are no alternatives. I mean,
it's
because
kind of like they're stuck between a
Well,
rock and a hard
however,
place.
if Elon Musk calls me, I will not answer the phone.
well, maybe you should though. We might need an investment.
We could use his
Yeah.
money. Like he's got a lot.
Here's
of
my
I'm
favorite thing
your
that came
human
out.
shield.
Here's my favorite thing that came out of that testimony, Matt. That the CEO of FTX said that he thought there was a 5% chance he'll be president one day. I like that. I like that he put. I like that he had a very specific number. And now, I think that he might be right. Actually, I think all CEOs roughly have like a 5% chance to be president. Why not?
Bob Iger was like a 20%.
Yeah, I
chance
like
at
that.
one
I like
point.
that
Yeah.
one.
And number 3, stop giving credit to billionaires without doing populist math first. Here was the
Ooh,
headline.
I like populist math.
St. Louis will pay $500 per month for residents to lift themselves out of poverty in a program partly funded by
Partly
Jack
funded.
Dorsey.
Okay.
I'm
Time
so
out.
glad
Time
you
out.
chose this.
Aren't you so happy that I didn't get duped by this headline for Good Least of the Week?
What, really?
So
Ari, you might have been let go from the show if you had
Yeah,
picked this one.
honestly. I don't
would've
think we would have
fired you.
let it get to that point.
And we would have blamed it on
all right.
Miles. Here's the real numbers. Federal COVID money made up $5 million of those payouts, and
Okay.
Dorsey money was $1 million. And just for a refresher, Dorsey is currently worth $3.3 billion.
Yeah,
so he
and-
gave $1 million.
And much of that net worth is based on a platform that we worry is like rotting our world, right?
Yeah, correct.
That's Twitter or X or whatever the hell it is.
Wow,
yeah.
Damien, that must have been really difficult for you to say.
Rotting
yeah,
our world.
Because he loves Jack Dorsey.
I don't know why
Loves
that
it.
myth
Yeah, that's
exists,
true.
but is it
That's
because
true.
he had a beard and I had a beard? Is that
Oh,
it?
it's Jack.
Maybe.
What else? What else?
Here's a populist math alert.
Yeah.
Because I saw this and then decided, well, okay, they're raising like St. Louis residents, a few of them, out of poverty and giving
Right.
credit to Jack Dorsey. What if Jack Dorsey and his guild of billionaires actually did something? The poverty line for a family of 4 in the United States is $30,000.
That's low.
$2,500 per month gross, right?
Okay.
The number of families that fall below that poverty line is 7.4 million. So if you gave the 7.4 million families that fall under the poverty line the amount to get them over the poverty line, let's just say half of that $30,000 a month,
Okay.
right? or 30,000 a year. $1,250 a month.
Right.
That's $111 billion that it would cost,
Which is like
for
nothing.
a year to get
Yeah.
everyone in America over the poverty line.
Everyone in America.
Everyone who's who's
incredible.
poor in America over
Yeah.
the poverty line. Elon Musk's net worth is obviously $261 billion, but he would never do it alone. So what I did was I took the top 15 U.S. billionaires and prorated based on how many billions they have, how much they'd have to spend. And it turns out that they would have to spend, the most would be Elon Musk at 15 billion. Everybody else is giving like a billion or
God.
so.
Wow.
And
I mean-
they're
That's
still,
and he's still so
hundreds
rich.
of billionaires.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
still are billionaires
make a
multiple
dent.
times over. And they could lift all of America out of poverty.
Matt,
for a
I
year.
will say this. That was great math and a great explanation, but I think you left the populist math behind when you prorated something.
I didn't realize prorating was against populist math. All right, those are your three. It is core values,
is
so core you
hard.
can change them. Lady human body shields enabling man babies, and giving credit to billionaires without doing populist math.
I don't know where to go on this one. I'll let one of you start on this one.
It feels so bad to vote for the enabler women
Is that your vote?
things. No, it's not.
Okay.
It feels too bad, I said.
All right. Well,
Core values that change like that, it just reminds me of my core workout, which changes as soon as I start.
I don't know where that.
I don't know what you're
just-
talking about.
I don't even know my core
Is that your
workout.
vote? Core values? Is that your vote?
No, I'm going to go with billionaires because I didn't even click on that headline
Well,
because
I will
thought
say
this
this,
bullshit.
That's the headline writer. That's not Jack Dorsey necessarily taking the credit,
Oh,
but
of course
I'm
not.
just
It could never
saying. I'm
be
just
Jack
saying.
Dorsey.
But they went to Jack Dorsey and said, "Do you want to be a part of this?" And he could have said, "I'll fund the entire
Anonymously,
thing."
yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
I'll fund it all.
Yeah. I mean, did you guys see the headline of the billionaire that died and gave
Yes.
away all
Oh.
his money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Damien does not like any
Whatever, I don't
billionaires
care.
giving anything away.
Yeah.
I'm
Why do they
okay,
have it in the
I'm-
first place? Yeah, go
I'm
ahead,
voting
Jesse.
for core values.
Oh,
That is
I kind of knew
ridiculous.
you would. You seem like that kind of person. Just because we
Well,
haven't.
A person
Yeah.
who has core values that don't
Yeah.
change, you mean?
Oh, she's the core value person at our company. Just because we haven't had a
Ari's the
tie.
core workout person, and Jesse's the core value person.
Just because we haven't had a tie in a while, and actually I would have voted for this one anyway because it aligns with our company the best. I'm going to go with women enabling man babies.
Oh, that's what Matt's going to pick.
Wow. No,
So-
I'm going
Okay,
to go
so
with I'm going to
Matt-
go
Break
with
the
core
tie.
values.
Oh,
It's core
I
values.
picked the winner.
Jesse, it's not a contest,
It's her
Jesse.
first time,
to
though.
Matt,
Look,
it is.
we
And this is
spent
his section.
At this company, Damien, you and I spent like the first 6 months of it with Dan Rogachnik,
Yeah.
who is an amazing human, going through what our core values are and
Yeah.
our mission are and all that stuff. And I went back to those documents when I saw this, and I was like, no, our core values are still our core value. We don't.
Wait, we didn't have
deviated.
scale in there?
No, we did not have scale in
Maybe we
there,
should have.
apparently.
Change it.
And
Yeah.
I just can't abide. Like, what is the point of calling something core to you if you can just edit it to include scale,
bad.
which makes you sound like Travis Kalanick, you
and
assholes.
it sounds like a 10-year-old edited that and added what they wanted.
I mean,
It was AI.
How is
make it
I'm
something
convinced.
people love.
How is a core value AGI focus? How is that? What is that? That's not a value.
No.
I don't know what that means.
That's
I don't know
not
what
a
that means.
thing. Yeah, all right. So, yeah,
All right.
that one's the winner, which means we're on to Jesse's going to exhaust us even more.
Oh, no.
The show's going into its 7th hour.
Come on, Jesse.
Why? I don't think they're so.
Put us to
they're
sleep.
not-
Come on.
They're not
Exhaust
awful
us.
this week. Okay. First headline. The UN's Green Climate Fund missed its target because of wealthy nations, obviously.
Shocked.
So the United Nations fell short. It had a $10 billion target for its second pledge conference, which happened in Germany this past week to replenish funds. This was established in 2010 to help developing countries cut emissions and prepare for climate change and what's to come. And this year, 5 nations did not renew their commitments. Do you think the U.S. is one of those?
No
Yeah,
way.
of course it is.
Yes. U.S.,
I wouldn't expect that
Switzerland,
under
Sweden.
Biden, though.
Right.
I know, it kind of surprising. Australia, Italy, Sweden, Switzerland, and the U.S. And mind you, the U.S. and China are the world's top polluters. We know this. We didn't renew our pledge, and China has never pledged.
Well,
so
of course.
blah, blah. Some of the other wealthier nations are trying to get both us and China to put money where our mouth is.
Good luck with
those
that.
poor
Good luck.
countries just need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and
Yeah,
stop
right?
climate
Of
change.
course.
Let's give them $500 a month.
Maybe Jack
They
Dorsey
should
should
be
get
able to
involved.
fight the tsunamis
The
and
whole
the
country.
earthquakes, all of those things.
Figure it out.
Why does Jack Dorsey care about St. Louis anyway? Is he from St. Louis? He must be.
How dare you?
I have
Thought
no
you would
idea.
know.
All right,
I'm gonna look it
moving
up.
on. Moving on. Ford says it won't raise its offer to auto workers union.
Ooh.
Ew.
That what kind of a negotiation tactic is that? They're done.
They're like,
they're giving
no.
up.
And the reason,
Walk
okay,
out, dare you.
the reason that they cited is we are at the limit. Any more will stretch our ability to invest in the business. And then they go on later in the article to say specifically their EV targets. And I just don't know how I feel about this, because then I looked up if they've gotten any government help, and they just agreed in July to a $9.2 billion loan from the government to build 3 electric vehicle battery plants. It's estimated that the loan is going to create 7,500 staff positions. Do you think that maybe you should pay your workers so you actually have 7,500 people that want to work there? Otherwise, I don't know. How are you going to fill those jobs?
We are at the limit. How much is the Ford family worth? Because this is a fake public company. It's a dual class fake public company, right? So
I think I'm going to dress up my child as a UAW striking worker.
That's a weird.
for
That's a weird
Halloween.
choice. You're fetishizing the striking worker. That's strange.
This just seems, it just seems
Just bring
like,
more
okay.
attention to it.
what
I
does a
don't think the
striking
message-
worker dress like?
Yeah, I don't
don't
want to
know.
know, Jess. Ari.
Maybe,
don't.
and then I'll be Mary Barrow.
Oh,
Matt,
that at least
That's
is accurate.
spooky.
Matt, as of 2014, the Ford family was said to be worth $27 billion.
Oh, they're definitely at their
It's
limit.
not enough. They're at their
Yeah.
limit.
Why
They're
don't
at
they
their
just
limit.
donate a little bit of their money
I just don't
for
like.
EV goals and then just pay your workers?
I don't get the strategy of announcing that anyway. I don't really quite understand that one. But what else
All
you
right.
got, Jesse?
Oh yeah, what's the last one here?
All right, last one. The 100 largest low-wage employers have spent $341 billion on stock buybacks since 2020.
It's kind of like the same
Oh.
story as Ford, kind of. Yeah.
I mean, I guess, but this is centered on stock buyback.
Wow,
Just
that's
misuse
crazy.
of company money, sort of, right?
Yeah, I guess.
No, it's the same thing that happened prior to COVID with the airlines. The airlines spent every dollar they had on share buybacks. And then COVID hit,
They're
and then
like,
they
"Oh,
needed
we
a
don't have
bailout
any
because they
money."
had zero cash. They had
Well-
zero reserves. And the difference between
And they still laid everybody off.
and they still furloughed everybody, or like there were problems everywhere. But the difference between Ford and an auto workers union and low wage employers are, number one, the low wage employers don't generally have unions, right?
yeah.
Like they tend to be hourly wage employees.
Who knows?
And,
Could change.
and number two, you are talking about like a group of directors. Share buybacks go into our data, right? Like these are people have to like approve them. The directors have to approve them. The boards have to approve it, which means you have a host of people who have effectively said, well, it's worth more to do share buybacks than to increase salaries
It's
or
worth
to do
more
anything
to
else.
line our pockets than to
Just so you
pass
know.
this money along to our employees.
Jesse, just so you know, Ford Motor Company has bought back $3.5 billion in the last 10 years.
Wow.
Stock buyback, $3.5
They're at
billion.
their limit. Their
Well-
limit, Damien.
Yeah.
One of the companies listed in this article is Lowe's, and they've bought back $35 billion
Okay.
when their average employee salary is less than $30K. So
Is that right? It's that low?
it's that low.
Okay.
So in let me just put this in perspective because I liked this statistic. In 2022 alone, they spent $14 billion on buybacks. That would be enough to give every one of their 301,000 U.S. employees a $47,000 bonus.
Yeah, but even Dave.
$47,000.
I don't know about Dave though. Dave was kind of annoying last year.
Yeah, I would ask Dave first and give his money to Jane.
Anyways, this doesn't feel new at all. This has been happening forever. It's robbery to me.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's my vote. That I don't need to.
Matt, right out of the gate.
I don't even need to think about the other ones because, I mean, Ford just seems like a stupid negotiating tactic. Like, sorry, I know everybody else is negotiating with you, but we will no longer negotiate. It's basically, I don't know. It just seems dumb. And these countries
you don't care that the U.S. is not making good on its pledges?
No, I'm not surprised by it. Like, it's not
Yeah,
exhausting me.
I'm
Because
a little
exhausting.
surprised. It's fine. I'm not
so
surprised
whatever.
that Italy's not making
But
good on its
share
pledge.
buybacks, stock buybacks are perpetually exhausting. It seems like such a dumb, uneconomic use of capital.
Damn.
Well,
It's a one-time
This is why I wanted to go
payment
first.
to an investor. Yeah, I want to poison your mind because that's
Speaking
the
of
right answer.
Speaking of Biden, if he has his way, he's already introduced a tax on buybacks, and they say if he has his way and he can pass this through, that tax will escalate enough over the next 5 years that they say it actually will prevent companies from doing great stock. But the question is, will he be around long enough? Will he have the Congress to get this through? But he wants to tax them enough to prevent that.
Yeah.
So that
would
something
be
good
great.
there. Yeah.
I want lots of things.
That would
That's
be
my
All right.
vote.
the
Share buybacks.
Oh,
Share
so there's no.
buybacks is the
So
vote.
you're playing the game wrong once again. So I don't even need to
I hate
vote.
it.
Fine, whatever.
I hate it.
What would have your vote been? Share
Am I
buybacks.
exhausted by stock buybacks?
Yes.
Matt, you raised an interesting point to me, which was, talking about the owners of Ford's wealth. I know it's like you're not allowed to talk about that in corporate America. We're not allowed to talk about the executives' wealth, the owners' wealth. We're only supposed to fixate on this like weird idea of what shareholder wealth. I don't even know.
Yeah, the company's wealth.
I hadn't thought of that, and I should have thought of that, but I just thought it was interesting. I would have voted for that because of that. It just making my mind percolate. I like that.
Well, too bad you lost anyway. But
Too bad I
that
don't know.
means we're on to winners and predictions.
Thank God, I'm ready for lunch.
I have a
Damien.
winner.
Oh, you have a winner?
Go ahead.
I already know who won this week, and
Go ahead.
it's only because of yesterday. It
Miles.
took one day for them to win the entire week, and that
Go
is
ahead.
movie theaters.
Wow.
Movie theaters won the week.
Can I
Because-
can I complain against? Yeah, go ahead. Why? Why?
You can't.
Yeah,
I
I'm
picked a
gonna.
winner.
I'm gonna.
I
'cause
thought
I
you
know what
said
you're
you
gonna
were
say.
ready for lunch.
Are you gonna
Don't
say Taylor
complain.
Swift? Are you gonna say Taylor Swift?
Obviously.
Okay,
That's
can I
why
just
they won.
say? Can I just get this off my chest?
Go on.
My wife bought tickets for this stupid thing, right? Well, it's fine. I don't care. It's like have a movie about Taylor Swift. It's great. She got it at a local movie theater that usually charges $12 for these tickets. These tickets are $20. So Taylor
Ew.
Swift is finding yet another way to rip off her fans. Why can't it be a regular movie ticket price, Ari? Why?
Time out.
Okay.
Time out.
No, there is no timeout. What is wrong with this person?
Does that
She
actually
doesn't-
go to
Movie
her though?
theaters
She
set
doesn't
the
set the
prices.
price.
I don't know
Yeah,
how this
no.
works.
Please, you guys are gonna. Yeah, this is like Sheryl Sandberg. You're gonna forgive her because she doesn't have any power in this, and she might be ripping off her fans across the world, but she has no power, right?
Listen, the
it's
people that are going
Ticketron's
there,
fault,
the people
right?
that
It's
are going to
Ticketmaster's
this
fault.
movie are the ones that can't afford to go to the concert.
Okay,
so,
Ari. So let them pay
That's true.
$12
Wait,
instead of $20.
is it a video of the concert?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What is it?
Look who just woke up.
Jesse's living under a rock.
I haven't heard. Yeah, I didn't catch this.
So
headline.
your winner is movie theater. So it's Adam Aaron,
Movie
the Catfish
theaters.
CEO. That's who your winner
Yes.
is then. Yeah.
He's
Ew.
the winner. He's the winner. His dick pics win. And that would Damien, your winner was
My winner
yeah.
was
Yeah.
more depressing, which is nobody this week sucks. But then I thought at the very end, I'll be cheerful and say it's probably Bobby Kotick.
Oh yeah, that's a real cheerful.
The
I mean, look,
sexual harasser.
He's getting $95 per share. Yeah, he owns millions of shares. He's walking away with over $600 million, despite all the crap
There's
that he
no justice in the world.
that he
man.
oversaw.
Jesse, who's your winner?
My winner is Aliens because of
Oh.
what Damien had mentioned about the Brits.
The aliens are
And-
winners. Yeah.
And definitely not us. We are not winners in the UK.
No.
That's bad. Maybe we could. Do you think we could sell the aliens
thought
ESG
that was
products? 'Cause
Maybe-
we've got some.
maybe
to
our
sell.
probably just
aliens.
steal them.
Should we change George? Switch out George as our mascot to an alien?
For an alien.
What's
My
your winner?
UFO above him.
My winner is someone no one has ever heard of, and it's a woman named Lulu Messervy.
Actually, I actually have heard of her because I was just looking into Activision today.
She was hired as the executive vice president of corporate affairs and chief communications officer at Activision.
Mm-hmm.
She was hired in October of 2022, right after the acquisition was announced,
Sure.
and in the middle of Kotick fielding questions about unionization, ongoing harassment probes, all of this stuff. They basically hired a human body shield to go out there and talk to the
Oh my
people
God,
and protect
Matt.
Bobby Kotick. She is a young Asian woman. Okay, so
Okay.
put her up in front of the microphone.
Why is she a winner?
Let her answer the
She
question.
was just an asshole
Here's-
10 minutes ago.
Here's
Because-
why she's a winner.
Because the
Houses
merger
can be
deal's going
winners.
through.
Because the merger deal went through,
Yeah.
they instantly vest any restricted vested stock when the merger happens, which means she signed a contract with $3 million in restricted stock
Nice.
units with a 3-year vest that immediately vested today. She can now quit and laugh all the way to the bank, not as a human body shield, but having done effectively 11 months of work and
Is
made
that really
$3
worth
million
$3
in
million?
stock. What?
Can I-
Is that
Matt,
really worth $3 million?
Well, I mean, she comes out unscathed.
Matt, can I parody your winner with even more nerdy free flow analytics?
You love
We're never
parodies.
ending.
Yeah.
Activision Blizzard set up a workplace responsibility committee, right, for the sexual harassment scandal. And again, this scandal was so bad that Bobby Kotick gave up all compensation for the future. Like, he gave up getting paid because this scandal was so bad. This is how bad it was. And
It still made $600 million.
and
Yeah,
the year
it's been
because
that bad.
the year before he gave up his pay, he made $154 million. So anyway, they created this workplace responsibility committee. It consisted of 2 women, of course, Dawn Ostroff and Ravita Bowers, and they combined are walking away. Remember, these are independent directors that were on an oversight committee to get rid of harassment at Activision Blizzard. They too, Matt, are walking away with a combined $3 million in
nice.
vesting shares.
Look, I don't mind being used as human body shield when you got paid to be used as human body shield and got out before you actually had to be the shield. That's what I'm saying.
What I'm just tired of is calling these directors independent when they're worth so many millions of dollars. They're getting paid in shares and cash, blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
I really want to get paid for doing like 12 meetings a year. That sounds amazing.
Let's
Doesn't
get
that
to
sound
predictions.
amazing?
Let's get to predictions.
All right, predictions. Damien, what's your prediction?
Because I'm Glasscliff CEO fixated this year, I immediately thinking that based on the catfishing, based on the fact that he's old and stupid, based on the fact that AMC Entertainment is a disaster and he's been at the helm since 2016, I believe, I think Adam Aaron will be out. And of course, they will replace him with a woman to clean up the mess.
Ooh, you heard it there first. It is an official Glasscliff CEO potential alert.
You're gonna love Jesse's prediction.
Jesse, what's
I
your
don't
ahead,
have
Jesse.
one.
prediction?
I don't
ahead,
have.
Jesse.
I was just told a minute before this show that I don't understand Glasscliffs
Oh.
Just read it as you wrote it. Jesse.
because I chose. Wait.
Well, Jesse, can I just say something before you say anything? But you're gonna understand Glasscliff soon, because as our company crumbles to the ground and Matt steps down as CEO, you will take over
That's correct.
to
Well,
help
That's
sweep
I
up
guess-
the
I guess
dust and dirt.
arthritis of my.
I understand what they are. I just don't understand the timing. I
Right.
basically made a statement about a Glasscliffer who
Jesse's
is.
prediction was that Under Armour is gonna have a Glasscliff CEO. After.
They already hired
After they
her.
just
All right,
hired
they already
Claudia.
they have a new CEO. Yeah.
I basically think she is going to fail, like all Glasscliff CEOs do.
No, she's not going to fail. The company is failing, and it's an impossible task to turn around.
She's
It's
not
impossible
gonna
to
turn it
Founder is
around.
still
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
board. He's still lurking. It's a lurking founder situation.
All right, my prediction is a bit longer, and it is because Ari doesn't have one.
I don't have one.
Good.
Don't be fooled by this headline. Dollar General stock jumps after it brings back former CEO to
boomerang.
jolt slowing sales growth. So this is a boomerang CEO situation. The boomerang CEO in this case is Todd Vasos or Vassos. I don't know. But he, according to our data, is not the highest influence on the board. The highest influence on the board is the chair of the board, Michael Calbert. And the reason why is not only is he the chair, but he works at KKR, who bought Dollar General in 2007 and re-IPO'd them in 2013. He's the longest tenured director with another guy, Bryant. They sit on almost every committee, one of them, and they basically engineered the boomerang. So here is my prediction to round us out of this 7-hour show. My prediction is Calbert and KKR actually fire the boomerang CEO and re-buy Dollar General inside 18 months.
Wow.
Calbert himself is made the CEO, and then they re-IPO
Oh my
by
God.
2027. And he's remade the chair of the board.
I'm
That's my
exhausted.
prediction.
I can see it.
I think what Matt's saying is that to all the workers at Dollar General, now's the time to unionize.
Time to get out. That's our show. That's Damian Rollis and Jesse the Money Whisperer and Ari the Data Queen. I was an analyst whole the entire show. We are Free Float. If you like this, come back next week for more of whatever this is. And go to freefloatanalytics.com. Sign up. All the things we talk about, influence, we talk about, director performance, it's all there. It's all for you to look at. Until next week, goodbye.